If you have been in any polytheist, pagan, or even witchy spaces, you've likely heard all about signs. Deity signs, signs from the universe. In these spaces, there's a lot of chatter around signs, when you should take them, what is and isn't a sign, and overall it's a very hot topic. Hello everyone, I'm your host with the most, Dia, and today we're talking about deity signs. Throughout your life, if you are consistently in pagan, witchy, or spiritual, or etc. spaces, you're going to hear so much about signs, and you're going to hear so many different opinions. Today, I'm going to share my opinion and my experiences with deity signs. Disclaimer, I'm only going to be... Sorry. I was laughing because I think it's so funny. We do a disclaimer in every video. It sounds so serious, but they're not serious disclaimers. Well, they are, but you know what I mean. Anyway, I'm going to be only talking about deity signs and taking them from a religious perspective, and I will not be really referencing anything having to do with witchcraft, though you can take some of what I say through that view if you want. Also, since, like I said, signs are such a hot topic, please remember this is just my opinion and my own experiences. I don't really know why people take deity signs so seriously, which we're going to talk about in the video, but really it's never that serious. So please remember, again, this comes my perspective of my practice, and everybody's practice is different. My practice will not look like yours. For example, some people don't get any signs from the deities at all, or they get very little, whereas that's not the case for me. So please keep that in mind. Also, I do want to say, if you enjoyed this video, if you like it, please give it a like. And if you enjoy this kind of content, please check out my other videos. And if you like those, please, I appreciate it if you could subscribe. Of course, it helps me out. And, you know, had to do a little plug, but, you know. Okay, let's start. So to start, I want you to think about what you would consider to be a sign. I just think about it for a couple seconds, trust me. Okay, now I want you to think about if you've ever experienced any signs and what those look like. Also, I'm saying this because I'm assuming that everybody watching this right now is some sort of religious, if not a polytheist like me. But if you're not, just ignore me. So if we think about, have you ever gotten any signs in your own personal practice? What do they look like? Yeah, I'll give you some time to think about that. Or also feel free to pause the video. Now that you've thought about that, what do you think and feel? Are signs rare for you? What times do they come for you? What do they look like? Lots of questions. Chances are, if you're some sort of religious person, you've gotten what you consider a sign. I'll keep this short, but my definition of a sign is some sort of symbol or signal from a deity or from the universe or whatever. This is a very general definition, but I think it fits. A sign is extremely personal, so it can be anything, but I've commonly seen them as animals, numbers, or even words. If you have been, particularly in the witchcraft space, you've likely heard the phrase mundane before magical, and that's absolutely true, and you should follow that. But I feel like some people take this quote out of context and sometimes take it too seriously, especially when it comes to deities. And I do feel like this quote doesn't really apply that well to deities, because of course, mundane for magical, and you always should go for mundane reasons, but also deities are sort of mundane because they're in our life, they're everywhere. Also technically kind of magical, I guess. But not really, because, you know, obviously deities are not some sort of magic, but you know what I'm trying to say. But witchcraft is way different than deity worship. Obviously, that's not a hot topic. That's not a hot take, obviously, but you know what I mean. I feel like applying that kind of quotes in the general witchcraft stuff like that, doesn't really apply to deities. But let me cook, okay? Let me go on, because I know I'm probably not making sense right now. But yes, people take that seriously, especially when it comes to deities, which is why we often see a lot of people asking in dedicated spaces, should I take this as a sign? Should I take that as a sign? For example, this religious Discord I'm in for being a pagan, I often see people asking questions. Oh, hey everyone, do you think this is a sign? Or go on, you know, like pagan Tumblr, not Tumblrs, and people are like, guys, should I take this as a sign? Is this a sign? And it's just like, come on now, man. And of course, I'm not making fun of these people. I would never, because these are good questions to ask. But I think it's because of the culture that we have around signs that it leads people to be confused and not being able to decipher their own signs. Because the truth of it is, no one can tell you something is a sign. Only you can know that, because it's your life. You know what I mean? And I think some people sometimes refuse to take signs unless it's something absolutely unbelievable, which obviously not all signs are, which could be harmful, of course, because we're, you know, rejecting signs from deities. You know, I think our culture around signs is more harmful than helpful, and can discourage people from looking at signs as they are. If you believe, like me, that the gods are everywhere, then everything is really a sign of the gods. The fact that you're breathing right now is a sign that some god cared enough to put air in your lungs, and I think that's beautiful. But of course, there has to be discretion. Like if you go outside and see a bird, that's just a bird living its best life, and and most likely not a sign. But also it depends on context. Like say maybe you just did like a praying or I don't know, ritual or offering, and then you go outside and there's a bird standing right at your doorstep. You could probably take that as a sign. So it depends on context, but like of course animals are usually commonly taken as signs. Animals literally just live. They have their own mind. They have the mind of their own. You know, they're not here to always be signs, but sometimes they are. I'm going to give some examples of signs that I see of gods in everyday life. The gods are everywhere and constantly speaking. You just have to be quiet enough to hear them. Before I give you a glimpse into the signs that I see, let me tell you how to recognize a sign. It's really simple. If the circumstance makes sense and you feel in your heart of hearts, then take it as a sign. It's that easy. Is taking things as a sign hurting you in any way? Ask yourself 3 questions. Is it hurting your relationship with the gods? Is it hurting your relationship with yourself? Or is it hurting your relationship or is it hurting your relationship with other people? If it's no to all those questions, then that's good. Take it as a sign. Ask yourself an additional question. Does it make you feel loved and cared for by the gods? Then definitely take it as a sign. And I'm only using that definition because I do feel like some people take signs too seriously and they're just kind of like, some people are kind of snobbish, I feel like, sometimes with signs. Like, not everything is a sign, which is true, of course, like I said. They don't give that nuance, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, of course not everything is a sign. But they're basically, like, I've seen a lot of people say, like, oh yeah, signs are incredibly rare. And that's just like, it might be rare for you, but that's not true for other people. Like, for me, signs are actually pretty common. So, like I said, like, there's no nuance, I feel like. And in the pagan space particularly, there's a lot of people who kind of just, like, share their opinion. And they take it as fact. They try to take it as fact. Like, they're like, okay, I practice this way. This is the right way to practice, which is not true. This is not an organized religion, and that's for the best. Each and every one of us have our own general way of practicing that follows like a really, really general outline. Like you give the God's offering, you wash hands before you pray, and give offerings. Boom, that's really all it. Like there's nothing really else, you know. But now we're going to talk about my personal signs, so to give you an idea about it. I will tell you about a day where I saw signs everywhere. So a few days ago, or a few weeks ago, actually no, not a few weeks ago, like a week or so ago, as of recording, I wanted to ride my bike to the park for the first time. It should have been a short ride, only 11 minutes, but I made the rookie mistake of eating a small breakfast before doing this. But before we even get into my dumb mistake, let's talk about me starting this journey in general. So of course it was scary because where I live, well, first of all it sucks in general, but there's not bike lanes, so I had to ride on the road, which is very nerve-wracking, and there's also like no sidewalk over there. I live in a very unwalkable, unbikeable place. Well, not unbikeable, very unwalkable. You gotta walk if you want to walk somewhere, generally you gotta walk on the road, which is kind of bizarre. Or you have to walk in the grass, which is not fun. But this is not a complaint session from where I live. But yeah, I had to ride on the road, which is of course very nerve-wracking. Climb on the road. Also, the drivers where I live are infamous for being just awful drivers. So I'm sure you can imagine why I felt a little anxious about that. But of course, I always feel nowadays I always feel protected and watched over. But that's not really a sign, that's just my truth and inner knowing. But even when I was riding my bike, I got signs. Butterflies personally are a big sign for me, and I saw them everywhere. They were flying on my bike, near me, next to me when I was biking, which is why I'm taking it as a sign. If I just saw a couple, I would have wrote it off because butterflies exist and it's summer. But the fact that I saw so many and they were getting so close to me, that in my opinion is definitely a sign. Plus, when I made it to the park safely, I was sitting in a place where you think a lot of butterflies would be, in the trees or the grass, but I literally only saw one. So the butterflies are with me as a sign of protection, which is really lovely. But again, as I mentioned, I did something dumb and I didn't eat enough. So on the way, I got very, very tired because, no calories to expend, and I had to stop twice for like 30 minutes each. It was really bad. I ended up turning an 11-minute journey to like an hour and 30 minutes, but we don't talk about that. So I was basically just chilling, doing nothing. I wasn't on the side of the road. I was like in the sidewalk, and like I don't want to talk about that. But even when I was chilling, doing nothing, just taking my break, even then a bunch of butterflies with me. Most notably, the first time I stopped, when I got back up to keep moving, a butterfly flew right at my bike, which is amazing. I also want to say particularly the butterflies a lot of them were, actually I think most of them, if not all of them, are actually yellow butterflies, which is also Not only are butterflies a big sign for me, yellow butterflies particularly are a very big sign for me. I don't know if yellow butterflies are just common where I live. They might. But, like, I feel like me seeing so many yellow butterflies in one day, not seeing that many other... Like, I've seen other colors of butterflies here, obviously, where I live. But, like, I only saw yellow butterflies that day. So, you know. But also, enough about butterflies. There's other signs that I got that are also amazing. So, I had this affirmations app. And at random times of the day, it will say a random affirmation. Also, on my phone screen, like my lock screen, there's affirmation on there that changes every day. When I wrote this script, it said, in this very moment, I am enough, which is true. And right now it says, let's see, it says, everything I am going through is making me a better person. So it changes. Some of them are about money, self-love, happiness. As you see, that one was about accepting yourself. So on the day I was riding my bike, also I want to say they differ throughout the day, but they usually don't follow a pattern of like being about the same thing. Like one will be like, oh yeah, I am rich, and the next one will be like, I love myself. You know what I mean? So they don't follow the same pattern. On the day I was riding my bike, I was extremely tired, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I did not think I was gonna make it to the park. Every single affirmation that I got that day from the app was about putting my mind, about being able to do anything that you put your mind to, and about able to keep going, and being able to keep going. And they came at the perfect time. Like at one point, like I said, I thought I wasn't gonna make it to the park, so my mom was coming to get me. I don't want to talk about it. I was just really sick because, you know, there's nothing in my stomach. So I was kind of just there. I was like, you know, maybe I can make it to the park. Maybe I feel better enough to keep going. And as soon as I thought that, I got a notification on my phone, and I look, and it says, I am capable of reaching my goals. And I was like, you know what? You're so true, bestie. Because I'm making it to the park. And I did. I made it to the park. It was only 3 minutes away, but y'all, I was so tired. Like when I got to the park, I damn near collapsed, but we don't talk about that. And when I got there, the one on my home screen changed to, I deserve my success because I fought to achieve it, which is so true. Like I was struggling and I fought for that victory of making it to the park. I just felt so washed over in that moment and happy. Of course, the gods are good. Normally, these things will mean nothing, which is the thing about signs. They come at the moment where you need them. Like, say, I'm thinking about Our Lovely Lady Aphrodite. I'm thinking about Love Aphrodite, and then I open Pinterest or something like that, and I see a picture of a dove when I usually don't have pictures of doves on my Pinterest. Always have to have a sign. I've actually had that happen before. Not with Aphrodite. I don't think it's ever happened, but I'll be thinking like about Apollo, and then I'll get like random wolves on my Pinterest page. I'm like, I don't even, how does this happen? Because I don't, the stuff on my Pinterest page is, it's not that, like, it's just other stuff. I'm like, it pops up randomly. So that's what I mean. It's circumstantial. Like, if a normal day, if a wolf pops up on my Pinterest page, I'd be like, why is this here? And I wouldn't click on it, but like I said, if I'm thinking about Apollo or something happens with Apollo, wolf pops up, I'm like, oh my gosh, Apollo. So, circumstantial. And then, of course, I know the gods are always with me, but in that moment, I was like, it's so true. It's like they're actually with me, you know? And lastly, last thing about this embarrassing day. Lastly, while I was doing my second break, I decided to do one of my daily prayers. I was planning to do it at the park, but, yeah. So I was praying to Aphrodite, speaking of her. And when I was, a couple of birds flew close to me into a patch of grass, like, right next to me. And I took this as a sign because of the timing, of course, and of the fact that the birds flew right next to me when I was praying and how close they got. If you know birds, they don't really get close to humans. See, I don't know what type of bird they were. I wasn't really paying attention. I was like, oh my gosh, birds. But they don't seem like the type of birds that were comfortable with humans, like pigeon crows, the one that you see like in parking lots or like around like popular food places. Basically, ones you see in crowds. So that made it more significant. They were just random birds. They flew really close to the ground. They flew close to me. And of course, like they flew at that exact moment. The circumstance. So again, that was a good day. I'm going to give you another small example of signs that I've gotten. So me and my bestie, Lord Aries, it's embarrassing to admit, but for some long months now, I've been acting up. Basically, I have this thing where I don't believe that people actually care about me, or in this case, love me, when they say they do. So it got so bad to at one point, I was like, you know what? Yeah. Lord Aries, and I guess all the rest of my deities, but it's particularly worse for Lord Aries because he's the god I'm devoted to. So he's like the one I talk to most. Like I talk to him, like I pray to him every single day. So it was at that point I was like, you know what? He doesn't care about me. He doesn't like me at all. I don't know why he does it. I don't know why he pretends to. Oh my god. I don't know why he pretends to, but he does. And that's so embarrassing to admit because obviously that's not true. But trauma makes you think some bizarre things. So I was at that point and I was like, you know what? Bro, I'm at my big age. I'm not gonna be acting like this, because I used to just bottle up my feelings when I had a problem, particularly with my deities. Because when I first started, I was very, let's say, mentally ill. I still am today, of course. Mental illness doesn't just go away. But, of course, my DDs are very lovely and help me with that. But I used to worship Dionysus. I used to have really bad. It was when I was really struggling with intrusive thoughts. And I still do, but since I was like, it was when I was younger and I was like so new to them, it really started to get to me. And it was at the point where it was affecting my relationship with Dionysus when I used to worship him. And he was the only god I worshipped at that point. He's the first deity I ever worshipped. I just want to give you some background on what I'm talking about. So, but I used to just bottle up my feelings. If I felt something like that, like if I have a problem, I would not tell them about that. But that was like 3 years ago at this point, and I'm like, I'm at this big age. So I was at the point, like I said, I can't just bottle this up. So I was like, unfortunately, I gotta talk to him about it. So, you know, we had an emotional talk. Emotional on my side. But I always do night prayers to him. So I go to sleep, as one does, and the next day I open up Instagram, and I click on this person's story, this Instagram story, and this person that I follow, sometimes they post stuff on the story that are like, kind of like the affirmations app I have, but they're different. Like, they post it from this book they have. But the thing about it is they don't post it every day. They post it infrequently, and they do like for different days. Like, every day is like a different thing. So that's what makes it significant. So anyway, I click the story, and what does it say? April 3rd, which was the day this happened, or the day after this happened, I guess. May you never be suspicious of an honest love. This area is about struggling to feel loved. And the next I open up my Instagram, and it says, may you never be suspicious of an honest love. Y'all. Girl, this is okay, this is. But yeah, this is on April 3rd, like the date says, and I'm still up about it. I still think about it all the time. Obviously, I'm sure you can see why this is a sign. And also, again, like I said, with the affirmation thing, it's like they have different stuff. Like, sometimes they'll be like money or like general love stuff. Like, that one was love about love. General friendship, whatever. Having a job, like, yeah, it's like, oh yeah. It's basically like, oh yeah, one day it can be like, you're gonna accomplish all your dreams, and the next day it's gonna be like may you never be such an honest love. So the fact that it was that day that page came up, and it was right after I did that prayer. Also, the Instagram story is like one of the first ones that came up, which is also significant. And also, I had a similar thing with Aphrodite. So you thought that would have healed me? It fixed me for a while with Aries, but then I was like, you know what, Aries, I could see that he cares about me. But Aphrodite, no, that I couldn't accept. Oh, I can't stand myself sometimes, bro. But this time I was able to get over myself, and I was like, you know, this is not true. Let me not be stupid. But the next day, I thought that I don't think I talked to her about it. I might have, but I remember thinking like, no, this is dumb. I'm not gonna do this again. But anyway, the next day, again, I wake up, and this time the message says, there are people in your life who love you honestly and deeply. Do not let the betrayals you experience keep you from them. Which is literally what I was thinking. Because the reason, again, of course, if I have trauma around love, it's because, you know, obviously, icon behavior, and that's why I'm taking them as a sign. I want to give you one more that happened literally yesterday, as of recording, so it didn't happen when I wrote this script. But I thought about it when I was talking about Aries. Again, Aries is quite the icon. Basically, there's a lot of changes going on in my life. I'm not gonna get into it, but I want to give you some context. A lot of changes going on, a lot of big things happening, and I'm a very anxious person, so I'm just like, dang, change. So I was telling Aries about this. I was like, you know, Aries, I appreciate it if you could be with me more than usual, and of course, like, you're probably busy or whatever. And then basically, he showed me a sign he was with me, which I really appreciate. It's a really personal sign, so I don't want to say what it is, but trust me, okay? But yeah, I just want to say the same night too that I did that, because I always, like I said, I do always do night prayers to him. What an icon. Stan Lord Aries, Stan all deities, of course, but you know, you gotta say Stan Lord Aries in this case. And Stan Lady Aphrodite. Anyway, but that was just a glimpse into my world of signs. Please feel free to share any signs that you got in the past in the comments. Now, before we end this video, I want to mention the other side of the spectrum. Negative signs. I just want to say, I personally, I don't think so, have never gotten a negative, actually no, I have never gotten a negative sign, but I want to say, in my opinion, you should never take something as a negative sign unless you are literally like 300% sure, 400% sure. Because trying to take these as a negative sign is only ever harmful to our relationship with the gods. And if you're like me, being nervous about what the gods might think, like I said, I literally tried to convince myself that Aries was pretending to care about me. Gods, in my opinion, are very direct. At least mine are with me. And on the off chance that they're actually upset with you, that you did something that make them upset with you, they would tell you in a way that is very direct and could not be missed. They're not going to be all like, they're not going to be dropping hints that they're upset with you. They're not passive aggressive, okay? That I can say. deities do not do human behavior, do not do petty human behavior. That's like, maybe I'm upset with you, maybe I'm not. They don't do that. Okay, I can tell you that. Never try to take things as a negative sign. In my opinion, if you're worried about something like that, just do divination. Don't be like, oh my gosh, it's raining really hard and I was about to go out. One of the gods are mad at me. Don't do that. That's not smart. Don't do it. It'll only make you paranoid and upset. And if you actually did something to make a god upset, go and ask them. Don't be silly. Like I said, let me give you an example. Actually, I've never gotten a negative sign, but let me try to give you some of me trying to take a negative sign. So, like I said, again, this happened. Listen, I'm really weird. Okay, so me and Aries, we go through this, and I was like, you know what? I was trying to convince myself that Aries hates me again. Not again. Like, I'm not trying to convince myself that he hates me. Like, again, like me, I'm doing that again. He never hated me in the past. At least I don't think so. Anyway, basically, I was doing that, and I was like, and I was kind of just like, and like deep down, obviously, I know it's not true, but I was basically just kind of wallowing in my own misery. And I just want to say something. I didn't do anything to warrant this, but I try to convince myself like small things. So I'll be like, oh my gosh, I didn't clean my room yesterday. It's just an example. It's not actually what I think, but I'm trying to give you something stupid because it's something stupid. So I'll be like, oh my god, I didn't clean my room yesterday. The gods hate me because they hate me because I'm a slob or something like that. I never thought that, but I'm giving you an example. So it's really stupid. Like I said, humans are weird. Brains are weird. Mental illness. So I think stupid things like that. And I'm being so serious. I've actually thought that before. Of course, I've like corrected myself, but like something's really wrong with me. So then the other day, I was like, you know what? I want to try something new. I want to try channel messaging, which is so fun. I really recommend doing channel messages. If you can, they're so fun. So I did channel messages. Basically, it's like where you write. I did channel writing, excuse me. That's what I'm trying to say, not channel messages. I did channel writing, which is so fun. So I did that. And basically the whole message, I was like, you know what? Let me stop being dumb. Let me ask Aries about a relationship. Anything going on? And he was basically like, bro, what is wrong with you? He was like, why do you think I hate you? He was basically just like, what do you even think you did to warrant that? And I was like, you know what, bro, you're so true. Basically, the whole message is like, I literally do not hate you. What are you talking about? Why would I? And like, deep down, I know it's true. Because if he hated me, we wouldn't be sitting here now, would I? Like I would know. Like, I would know for sure. I wouldn't be thinking like, oh my gosh, maybe he hates me. I didn't even do anything. And he was literally like that. He's like, what do you think you did? It's so stupid. It's so dumb. And I was like, bestie, you're so right. So I just want to say, don't be like me. Do not sit there wallowing in your misery. But of course, I know it's hard. Like, for me, like I said, deep down I know that my D's don't hate me. But like I said, I have so much trauma around stuff like that. And that's normal. Don't beat yourself up for that. Don't, okay? We're going to be serious for a moment. You're human. And, terrible things happen in our lives. Like, that cause trauma and stuff like that. Of course, not everybody has love-based trauma. Not everybody is unlucky enough like me. But we all have traumas and we all have things that we think. And of course, deities are beings that are so much bigger than us. And like, they're kind of, I guess, mysterious in a way. Because like, obviously, like, they're not like humans. You know what I mean? Obviously. Like, the statement of the century. Obviously not. So it's like, sometimes you can feel like it's hard to get a read on them. But like, that's not true. Deities are, like I said, are very direct. And they're here to help you. If you're worshiping a deity, that means they care. They actually like you. And they care enough to let you worship them. That's why deities here. Deities don't need our worship. They facilitate their worship for our own benefit. They don't need us. You know what I mean? Like, they set up temples, have people set up, and have people give them offerings after blessings because they want to help us. And I genuinely believe that, because for what other reason would they do this? They don't need us. They got everything that they need. You know what I mean? They're literally gods, literally. So just remember that, and remember that if a deity hated you, which is very unlikely, I think you have to be like really evil for a deity to hate you. And if you're really evil, you know you're evil. So you're not an evil person. Most likely. I mean, if you're watching this video, but I'm being serious, okay? But you're not an evil person. No deity hates you for something random, like you didn't clean your room. Again, a bizarre example, but I'm just trying to give something silly. No one deity hates you for a silly reason like that. And really, it's just a reflection of your own thoughts, which is, fine, because we're humans. So just affirm that need. And if you're like me, which you really struggle with this stuff, go up to ask them. Don't be afraid to talk to them. Be like, hey, I'm really struggling with this. Can you like show me some signs or whatever? Hey, signs. Talk about this video. Do divination. Be like, hey, can you like give me a comfort message? I really need some comfort right now, which is what I do, and it actually helps because you're getting it directly from the deity. So you know what I mean. So don't wallow in your own misery. Ask for help, and of course, if you're able to, I hate saying this because I'm not gonna lie, especially if you live like in America. therapists are kind of awful. Like, a lot of them are just not good. And especially if you live, like, in the place I live, there's no therapist around here. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like, there's none. But if you're able to, try to get help for this. Because, of course, deities, in my opinion, if someone has 99 problems, a deity can really solve 98 of them. But there's always one problem. And, of course, humans still need other humans. And we still need professional help. Like, don't be afraid to get help. Like, medicine. Like, I take anxiety medicine, which definitely helps. If I'll be way worse when I take anxiety medicine. So, like I said, don't be afraid to ask for help. And it's not shameful. Just know deities, they love you. If you have a relationship with them and you worship them, they love you. You know, they're there for a reason. They stick around for a reason. I just want to be serious for that for a second. Anyway, overall, signs show us that the gods are there and they're listening. The gods are good and they're really here to help us. Really, they are the best weapon we have in our arsenal. Like I said previously, if we have 99 problems, a deity can solve 98 of them. Once you get on the good side of a god, which is really easy to do, nothing can stop you. Nothing can touch you, nothing can stop you. Stop taking life so seriously. The gods are life and they're everywhere. If you're praying and after you're done, you look out the window and you see a bird right there, take it as a sign. What's the harm? Sometimes I think the gods just want to show us that they are there with us. So not every sign has to be some kind of deep meaning. Sometimes they wanted to say hi. I don't know about you, but the gods are my utmost source of happiness. So when I see signs, they make me happy. And that's the point of life, to be happy. It reminds me that the gods are there and that they think of us, just like how we think of them. We humans are forgetful creatures and we need every reminder. So ultimately, take that sign. Thank you for watching. Hope this video helps someone out there. I'm being serious when I say I think people are too serious around signs, and I feel like it's holding back our relationship with the gods in some way. People are just too serious. I really don't know what hymn to say here, because, like, what? But we're gonna do Hermes because he's the messenger of the gods, so, like, I guess maybe he's bringing us all these signs. Because I think it's actually said in some traditions that Hermes brings our prayers to the gods, which I think is pretty funny, because when you pray to Hermes, does he bring it to himself? It's like taking a letter, it's like he takes the letter and puts it in his own mailbox. You know, that's a funny visual. I'm gonna go with that. We're reading the Orphic hymn to Hermes. Hear me, Hermes, messenger of Zeus, son of Maia, almighty in heart, lord of the deceased, judge of contest, gentle and clever, O Argefontes. You are the guide of the flying sandals, a man-loving prophet to mortals. A vigorous god, you delight in exercise and deceit. Interpreter of all, you are a profiteer who frees us of cares, who holds in his hands the blameless tool of peace. Lord of Korkios, blessed, helpful, and skilled in words, you are assist in work, and you are a friend of mortals in need. You wield the dreaded, the respected weapon of speech. Hear my prayer and grant a good end to a life of industry, gracious talk, and mindfulness. Thank you for watching. Remember, the mighty gods are on your side, and they are sending you signs, bars. Remember, if you're worshiping a god, that means they care enough to want you to worship them. Remember to praise the gods often, and goodbye.